The opinions expressed on this program represent the viewpoints of individual authors or contributors and do not necessarily reflect those of Troy University. This is Alabama Politics with Steve Flowers, an in-depth interview with Alabama's top political newsmakers. Now, from the studios of Troy University, here is Steve Flowers.
I'm Steve Flowers, and welcome to Alabama Politics. Folks, we're fortunate tonight to have as our guest one of my favorite guys in state politics, our Agriculture Commissioner, Rick Pate. He's term limited, y'all. He's served his full 2 4-year terms, 8 years as Agriculture Commissioner. Done a fantastic job in that capacity, almost like he was born for it. But he's got to go somewhere else because he's term limited, so he's running for Lieutenant Governor of Alabama in the GOP primary, which is right around the corner, y'all. If you're not aware of it, it's right around the corner. And so old Rick's out campaigning for Lieutenant Governor this time. Rick, good to have you on the show.
Good to be back with you, Steve. I always look forward to it.
Y'all don't know Rick's just a regular on my show because he's here in Montgomery, and the whole 8 years he was Agriculture Commissioner. He would come down and visit with me, and we'd talk about ag issues. You know, I had one of the people running for Ag Commissioner, Rick, on the show, and I told him, I said, Rick Pate would come on every year, and John McMillan would come on for you. How long was John Agriculture Commissioner?
He did the full 8 years.
He did the full 8 years as Ag Commissioner.
And if you remember, he ran for treasurer, and then he got that appointment to the medical cannabis.
Yeah, and that's why Young came back in there.
Yeah, exactly.
I really like Young a lot, too. I've got to be good friends with y'all. Y'all got the most prestigious Rotary Club in the world.
Well, I just left there.
I know
Young
it. You and Young in there. Governor Ivy's in there. Who all else is in there?
Well, you got Will Sellers.
That's right. Will's in there.
Of course, John McMillan's still in there.
That's right.
And but yeah.
So you just come down the street.
A lot of lobbyists and a lot of elected officials.
There's Governor Ivy, Rick Pate, the Ag Commissioner, Young Boozer, the State Treasurer, Will Sellers on the Supreme Court, and John McMillan, who's been everything.
Yeah.
You know, I remember when John was Conservation Director.
Yeah.
Do you remember that?
Sort of. He left there, I guess, and went to Forestry Association. I really remember him better there.
Forestry, yeah.
Yeah.
You know, that leads into this subject, where I was going with that thing, Rick. When you first started coming on and when John would come on, that's what brought me talking about John McMillan, I would ask y'all, because not being a non-farming person, non-agriculture person, I didn't know. I just knew what I read about what products and crops were the leading ones. But during John's 8 years, it would change incrementally. And then when your 8 years, last 8 years, I'd say, what are the top 5?
Well,
what's really grown is forestry.
Forestry. And
that's been the biggest growth in my time in politics.
Yeah, we got to quit recycling paper. It seems like every time we cut down one tree, we plant a tree and a half back, and so the prices have been really poor here. And I heard Chris Isaacson with the Forestry Association say if we didn't plant another tree for 50 years, we've got enough pine trees in the state of Alabama to meet the demand.
Who said that now?
Chris Isaacson at Forestry Association.
He said so that people got to quit doing that.
We got to quit, yeah. I mean, it never going to be worth anything. And we've got tremendous capacity in the state. It's not like we're just a small player in that, because the whole forestry industry is moving out of Canada and northwest parts of the United States because of the overregulation. And, of course, Alabama's obviously a much friendlier business environment. But by far, forestry, and, of course, the Porter-Mobile, what they're doing down there really helps with that as far as those businesses. And then second, but it's not close to forestry, but it's way above anything else is our poultry industry.
Poultry's always, in the 16 years with you and John McMillan, and I would ask that question over the last 15 years, poultry obviously is number one. It's always been number one. But what's changed is the other things. What started happening about when you first became Ag Commissioner is the sod and landscaping business became, or what you came from, the nursery business. Your business, landscaping and nursery and all that sort of thing.
My degree was actually in horticulture, and that's how I made a living.
I knew that.
Commercial landscape. Actually, we did landscaping on this building. We did that. Most of the RSA buildings. I think the only one we didn't do was the Union building, but did the Activity Center, Alabama Center for Commerce.
How many years you have that business?
37.
Was your daddy in, or did you start the ministry?
No, I started. Yeah, I actually went to Auburn and studied traditional agriculture, and we kind of had that family meeting where Dad called me in and said, you know, we really can't afford another salary from the farm, and you need to get in
Was
something.
the farm in Lowndes County?
Yes,
sir. The whole your whole stuff was always in Lowndes County.
Lowndes County. I've inherited because my wife's family they were row crop farmers in Ottawa County, so now I have just about as much in Ottawa County as I do in Lowndes. But yeah, we grew up in Lowndes, and anyway, I'd taken all those soils and fertilizer classes and things, and so I was able to transfer into horticulture. It didn't cost me too much more time.
At what age when you got to Auburn, he said, I can't, you know, we don't have enough room here to sup everybody in the family come this week.
Well, it's probably my sophomore and junior year, right in there. And also it kind of exasperated. My brother had gotten accepted in vet school, so that means he's going to be there a year older than me. He's not leaving. He's going to be there another 3 or 4 years. Then I had 3 younger sisters just staggered
you
right
had 3 sisters younger than you.
Just right under
so
me. So there was 4 of us at Auburn at the same time.
Woo.
So he needed me to get out of school. And actually we ended up having to sell a little bit of the land to get all the girls. It was kind of promised to us. My mother's dad told her, he didn't have a lot of money, but he said, your inheritance.
This is your daddy telling you?
This is my mama's daddy told her.
They in Lowndes County?
No, sir, they were from Calhoun County. But he told her that, yeah, I'm going to send you to Auburn. You got 3 years to get out there, and that's your inheritance. And so Mama and Daddy always kind of told us that. We'll educate you, and you'll get out of school debt-free. We'll pay for your education, but that's all we're promising is your education. Then you go make it on your own. And so, you know, that's the way it was presented to me. I needed to get on out and get off the payroll and start paying taxes myself.
So when you were middle of school in Auburn, you were trying to think of what you were going to do, but you knew it'd be agriculture related.
Yeah, I never really thought about, you know, because you know what vocations you know, and so you grow up in a rural area, you mostly know agricultural type vocations, and so, yeah, I always wanted to run a business. That turned out to sort of be my gift, to start something from really nothing, myself, and then have 3 employees. Then you look around, you got 5 and 10 and 20, and I think with top we had about 55 employees, but yeah, it kind of really imprinted me with how I feel about government, because, you know, sort of like the United States of America decides we've got to have roads and bridges and a military. Well, let's set up government. The United States says, let's set up government, and that government take something from everybody that makes any money. And so I said, that's a good system. So they said, well, there's Rick Pate. Now he's growing that business every year. He's paying more employees. That's more. And we're not working the cream of society. These people might not be working if we did hire. And so I said, well, somebody in the government saying, well, Rick is really helping us out, getting people off unemployment, paying taxes, paying sales taxes, buying business licenses. But it's almost like the more I did and the more I sent them, they just wanted to regulate me. In fact, I heard somebody said the other day, when you go in business, the first thing they do is tax you, then they regulate you. Then when they put you out of business, they subsidize you. But anyway, they never did put me out of business. But yeah, I just became, when I ran 7, 8 years ago, and agriculture is one of the more heavily regulated industries anyway.
Is that
just
right?
Really, 95% of what we do is regulated.
Yeah.
Whether it's pesticides or weights and measures and gas pumps and food safety and fertilizers. And so, yeah, I just wanted us to bring a even-handed approach to regulation. Obviously, you need people to make sure, you know, if you sold somebody a bag of 888, it's 8% phosphorus, 8% phosphoric acid, and 8% potash. It doesn't need to be 2. And so we have the responsibility to make sure, and truth in advertising. But you could put 2 on it. We don't care. It's just got to be whatever it says.
Yeah.
And so anyway, but I feel like, the people we've done a good job. I don't know that I've had any pushback from anybody saying we've been heavy-handed in how we dealt with them and weren't helpful in trying to get them past our regulations.
Rick, so by the time you were 30, you'd started your landscape business.
Oh, yeah.
Before you were 30 even?
Yeah, I was probably 26. I actually went to Huntsville for 2 years. I teased Mayor Battles. I said, I left Huntsville. I could tell that town wasn't going anywhere. But that ain't really true. You could tell even back then, Huntsville
it was fixing
to blow. It was blowing up at the time. But then actually,
But you want to get back home.
Well, I didn't originally want to go back home, and so I actually said I need to work for the largest landscape contractor in the United States. So I took a Greyhound bus
To
with a
learn
buddy
it,
of
to
mine,
learn the business.
Jordan Plaster, and I got on a Greyhound
you
bus and
serious?
we drove off, took that thing all the way
So
out.
you and Jordan went off together?
It took 3.5 days. What should have taken? Anyway, you stop in every little town. But anyway, got to California and got out. Back then, you had Yellow Pages and called around and found the biggest landscape contractor in the United
Is that
States.
what y'all did?
Yeah, well, I did. Now he
doing out
flew
there
back.
for?
He flew back.
Oh, y'all just good friends.
Yeah, we were just good friends. So he just said he'd ride out there with me. But yeah, I took a job and flew.
Were you married? You were already married?
No.
y'all weren't
Yeah,
married,
so
okay.
neither one of us were married. So then I went back there. Went
Well,
back. for
Jordan
2
went to
years.
Alabama. He's as rabid as Alabama fan as you are an Auburn man. But how'd y'all
Well,
get his friends? We're talking about Jordan Plaster, who's an investment man in
Well,
Tuscaloosa.
his brother Bob was a fraternity brother of mine.
Okay,
And
Bob
so-
was who he, okay.
And so, but then Jordan introduced me to Julie, and
That's
so
he introduced you to Julie?
So then, now we're stuck with the Plaster brothers forever. But anyway,
Julie must be a couple years younger than you, is she?
she's 3.
Yeah, that's thought, yeah.
Yeah, Jordan's 2, and I think Bob's 3. Yeah, she was in Bob's class. But
So Jordan Plaster introduced. Now, who's the guy his brother that works for you now?
Jordan's brother works for me,
yeah,
Bob.
Bob, yeah, that's right, but Bob.
He's just-
I knew their daddy.
Yeah, I remember Mr. Plaster.
Uh-huh.
Absolutely.
When I first got in legislature, he was working, whatever he did, he was a great guy.
He was, yeah.
Uh-huh.
And Jordan, stepmother worked for Congressman Bill Nichols, so they were kind of a political family, maybe so. But my mother actually, after Goldwater ran in '64, I don't know what she was thinking, but it was so inspired in 1966. Back then they drew whole county legislative
Right.
districts, so the person from Lowndes ran in all the Lowndes and all of Tauga. It wasn't proportional based on population. And so she ran, so Hal, my brother's 11, I'm 10, sister 8, sister 7, sister 5, and she's trekking us all over Lowndes because she finished a distant third.
Did
But
she run
yeah,
for the legislature? Or
yeah,
Congress?
ran for the legislature.
As a Republican?
As a Republican.
Which is unheard of back
in
then.
1966, yeah.
Jim Martin was running for the Senate or governor against Lurleen Wallace. And because the Goldwater landslide had wiped, we'd become a Republican state in '64 presidentially.
Well, we picked up a
Presidential.
congressman, if I remember right.
Had 5. We had 5. Bill Dickinson was our congressman here. You
Yeah,
know?
forever, yeah.
And he went in '64. And Jack Edwards came from Mobile, became great congressman. But back up to your landscaping business. So you had that 37 years from around
82 till I sold it. That second year I was commissioner. I just couldn't manage it.
Right, but you didn't. But you thought you might could handle both, but you couldn't do both of them.
No, I never thought. But I didn't know if I'd win, and so I wasn't going to sell it before I knew I'd win. And then I had Jason Walker, whose wife Rhonda was on the county commission here in Montgomery. He had worked for me for 27 years. Both of my boys not interested. One got a building science degree, and the other's a orthopedic surgeon. So they had wanted nothing to do, and I probably worked too hard to be.
You make them work all year round.
I was 12 and 13.
Would you pay them anything? You'd pay them something.
Yeah, we'd pay them something. But anyway, yeah, they had.
They started when they were about 12 years old, probably, didn't they?
Yeah, we put them in a.
On a day like today, too, in August, a hot August day, how about
We
that?
put them in a van pushing fertilizer. And, the young was telling me I bought him a little small fertilizer spreader because he wasn't big enough to push a full size one.
What age were they there when you started working them?
I don't know, 12, 13.
Are they like 32 or 39
Yeah.
or something like that? That 2 years difference in their ages?
Yeah.
Now, which one's the orthopedic surgeon, the older one or the
The
younger
younger one.
And the other one's going to be a building science person?
Well, he is.
Oh,
He
yeah.
actually went to work for Cadell, got all those security clearances you got to have to build embassies, and he's made a career in Europe. So they sent him to Saudi. He left Saudi, went to Stuttgart for a company, and then left Stuttgart, was in Sicily 2 years, married a girl from Poland. Then they sent him to Poland. And
So he
now,
met a girl in Poland, married
well, he
her?
met her in Italy, but she was born in Poland.
I
She's
know.
a sweetheart, too. Speaks better English than me and you do.
Are you serious?
Oh, yeah. If she wants to, she can talk with a British accent. Yeah.
I love it. Now,
But
they still live over there?
Yeah, but they're matriculating back. He started applying for her green card, and so I think, I think they will. If they have children, I think they want them born here.
Is Cadell, are they still in business? They sell out
Yeah.
to somebody?
Oh no, they're still in business. Matt Cadell runs it. One of the grandsons of John Cadell, but he left them Well, he was in Saudi when COVID hit, and you'd think it was bad in the States.
Was it worse over there?
Well, you didn't get any information. So the king, there's no free press, and so it's not like so many people are dying, and we're gonna close the airport for this long. It was just nobody's leaving, nobody's coming in.
So how long was he over there? 5 or 6 years?
I don't know, 2 years.
Oh, okay.
He was probably there 2 years, maybe Stuttgart 2 years.
But now, so the 32-year-old's married too now?
The 13-year-old married in Warsaw.
The 30-year-old's married.
He's marrying a girl from Auburn.
He's getting married.
This week. Saturday he's getting married.
I guess because you didn't let you campaign then.
I'll be in Colorado. He's marrying a girl that went to Auburn, but she was raised in Denver, so that wedding's going to be out in Colorado. So we're flying out Wednesday morning for that.
Well, you know, Ricky, it was good that you really, Lowndes County is like part of Montgomery, really, when you get down to it. It's like right here in the same place. So you didn't have to move anywhere. Do y'all still live out in Lowndes County? Y'all live on your land out there?
No, I actually moved into town, which is a town of 100 and something people. But you know, I was.
You were mayor.
Yeah, I was mayor for 14 years, and we have a water system, so it sounds silly to be mayor, but we probably maybe have 1,000 water accounts, and so that's really mainly what you're doing.
So you live at your house in Lowndes County, where you've always lived in?
Well, not where I grew up though. That's about 4 miles away.
Yeah, but where you mayor, you're in Lowndes Borough. The city of Lowndes.
But we bought an old antebellum house that was built in the 1830s and kind of fixed it up. Yeah.
Well, was it a tough call making the decision to run for lieutenant governor? What did Julia say about running for lieutenant governor?
She encouraged me. I would say she felt like I still had something to give.
Well, you look mighty young. I mean, you know, you don't need to be quitting.
Yeah, and I felt like that. I felt like, you know, the whole Ag Commission thing has been so much more than I had anticipated. Because when I got in, I didn't know if I'd win. Our commitment was we put $100,000 in the campaign. We said, well, let's just go have a great year. And I'd been in business 36 years by then. I was kind of bored. The kids had grown out of college, doing well. So, yeah, and it's halfway through, then you think, well, we might as well win, I guess.
Who ran against you in that?
Gerald Dow.
That's right. But did y'all wind up and run off together?
Yeah, we did. There were 4 people.
Who all else was in there?
Cecil Murphy and T.O. Crane. You probably would.
Gerald ran second to you and run off. Do you know the one thing that taught me about Alabama politics and geography was in 1982, the first year I ran for the legislature and was elected. I was real good friends with Bubba Trotman because Bubba from Troy, you know, and he ran for agriculture commissioner. Matter of fact, Bubba and my mama graduated high school together. And I never knew a better gentleman in my life than Bubba Trotman. He was just, the word Southern gentleman, you could put his picture in a dictionary. Wouldn't you say that about Bubba?
He was probably I know he's in the top 3. He might have been the first person I went to say, Mr. Bubba, I'm thinking about running for Ag Commission.
What'd he say?
He said, I'm going to support you if you'll run. Because my dad had been president of the cattlemen's, and he had, because Mr. Bubba was president of the National Cattlemen's. Yeah. But Mother had been president of the Cowbells, which is now the Cattlewomen. But so we have been embedded with the Trotman family for. I'll tell you this quick story about Mr. Bubba. When he was president, he loved to hug women.
Oh, I know.
He would hug.
I know.
So Dad got to be president about 10 years after Bubba. So he told my mom, I think they were going to a meeting in Monroe County, first meeting as president. He said, well, I'm going to do like Bubba, Mr. Bubba, and I'm going to hug all the women. And so anyway, Baba said, okay. And so anyway, they have the meeting and they drive back. And he says, Mom ain't speaking to him. And he says, well, what are you mad about? And she said, well, you hugging those women. He said, well, you said it was all right. She said, no. I said, if you do it like Mr. Bubba didn't pick and choose like you did.
Bubba hug all of them.
I think Dad was a little picking and choosing.
So your daddy was a cattleman with Bubba and everything? Yeah. So y'all did go way back.
Yeah.
You know, Bubba Trotman is, like I said, was one of the finest gentlemen I ever knew. Matter of fact, he had you know who was uncle. You know, the Carrolls in Ozark, Mary Lib Carroll, Sam and the Carrolls in Ozark are his relatives by marriage. The Carrolls were prominent back then. Growing mules was the biggest business there was in rural Alabama. When his daddy had a big mule business, and it's on the square in Troy. And they were a very prominent family and lived on College Street. And Mr. Bubba would come down there. My little house in Troy is on College Street, up on the corner of College and Murphy. And I'd walked a lot, and I'd see Bubba when he got in town. He'd stop by and see me. he'd go by and see his aunt, who was Miss Lucy Nall was his aunt. Do you know the artist that was so famous, Nall, that was in Fairhope? Everybody wants his paintings in all Bronner's hotels. Nall was Miss Lucy's grandson, and he was his aunt, he was Bubba's was his uncle. But I came home one day from Montgomery or something. I said, Mama, I got to have supper with Mr. Bubba Trotman tonight, and he's the finest gentleman I've ever seen in my life. Mama said, you know, I knew that she and Bubba had grown up together. She said he was just that way growing up. He was always just a perfect gentleman growing up. I didn't mean to get off on, but what I'll tell you about Raymond brought Bubba up was in '82 he ran for ag commissioner, and all of us in this part of the state figured it's a shoe-in. Everybody loves Bubba Trotman, and in Montgomery, all over this area, he was a legend. But he got against Albert McDonald, who was a state senator from who was Caroline Adderholt's daddy.
Yeah, right.
You know, Robert Adderholt's wife's daddy, Albert McDonald. Albert McDonald beat Bubba 2-1 because the votes were in North Alabama.
Well,
that taught me
Bubba
the
ran
first
as a Republican too, and
Well,
Al McDonald ran as a Democrat. That
Yeah.
was a little, you know,
But
Wallace probably.
And Henry Farmer still ran. He ran as a Republican. He ran for governor
Yeah.
by that time. But anyway, that taught me about North Alabama, though.
Yeah.
So I know you know that from having a campaign. You got to spend your time up there in North Alabama. That's where the votes are.
Yeah.
I mean, that's where the people are. I mean,
Yeah.
north
Well,
of
I tell
Birmingham.
you this about the runoff. When I, went in runoff in whatever that was, 2019, 18. Yeah. So when they went to they counted the Republican votes in Choctaw County, and I won 33-32. So yeah, that ain't a lot. That ain't a lot. You could go down one street and about 33 votes.
Choctaw ain't never had a lot of people.
Well, they vote in the Democratic
That's
primary
right.
too. They'll vote for you in the general election, but I didn't need them in the general election.
The one thing too that's changed too is how much Baldwin and Shelby have become important in Republican primaries.
Absolutely.
If you put
Lot
those
of
two
people
counties,
involved.
matter of fact, I started about 20 years ago when people start running for statewide office. I say, well, where are you going to go? I got to start in Baldwin County because they've gotten so many votes down there. And Shelby, of course, has too. But all those counties in North Alabama are vote rich.
Well,
Madison now, is that about Madison?
But Limestone's growing faster than Madison
Exactly.
now.
I mean, Coleman ain't no small county.
No.
And it's pretty doggone Republican too. Do you do pretty good in Coleman when you run?
Yeah, I've always done well. In fact, I've done real well in North Alabama. I think the biggest area, I didn't advertise in that Columbus, Georgia, Phoenix City TV market. I just didn't have enough money before.
Did anybody else do it over there?
I assume Senator Dow did because the couple of the counties I lost were in that market that over on that side of the state.
But I'm glad you brought up his name before Senator, because we ain't got about 4 minutes left. Been talking about all kind of different stuff, but let's talk about your race for lieutenant governor and that job. The Constitution, the only job it says it does is preside over the Senate and become governor if the governor dies. Now they made some expanding some roles and different things. Like I would have Kay Ivey on the show when she's lieutenant governor, and she'd call off a litany of how many committees she was on. So they do give it more thing, but really you preside over the Senate. It's what your job is.
Well, and that's a big job to preside over the Senate and who's speaking, but also you get to assign Senate bills to what committees,
Right.
and so you can kind of do some things there. You get to assign what senators go on the conference committees when there's disagreement between the House and the Senate, and so there's a few other things. And like you said, because I'm used to having a lot of appointments as Commissioner of Ag, I appointed 66 of the 67 Board of Registrars. Right. I appointed 2 people to the Alabama Farm Center thing they're building in. And there are a lot of appointments that I had, but I think the Lieutenant Governor has maybe 170 or something. He even has more.
They put them as a perfunctory board member to appoint people to all kind of boards.
Yeah, you get a lot of them.
5 members. They put the governor and lieutenant governor on there.
Well, the governor even appoints more, but the Lieutenant Governor appoints a fair amount of people to different commissions and boards.
But Joe, you enjoying this time? It's like rerouting because you've done it. This will be your 3rd statewide race.
Well, the second time nobody really ran against me, but it's fun. The thing about me is I like meeting people, and so I enjoy that. The grinds of traveling, riding the road, up and down the road. But I like being around people. Pretty pretty busy time right now with my son getting married in Colorado this week, and I still have a lot of responsibility every day at the Department of Ag, so it's not like I've shut it down and just been campaigning 24/7.
Yeah, when I was talking to you a couple of times, both times I called you on the phone, you had to go to some important meeting as Ag Commissioner. People forget that, and you've got a lot of employees. I'm going to tell you, I hate to say this about what you're running for and what you're leaving, but you had a lot more responsibility as State Agriculture Commissioner. What, you got 200 or 300 employees out there?
I got 350 full-time. During peanut season, we'll hire 250, so we'll be at 600 because we do all the grading of the peanuts in South Alabama. So, yeah, about 350 full-time employees. There's probably 100 in the campus building here on Federal Drive, which, I know it's dated to the 60s, but we spent a little money on it, painted the outside, put new letters on it, changed the lights out, built a new courtyard. So I think we're good. There's no reason for us not to be in that, not to be in that building another 20 or 30 years.
When was that building built out there?
I think it was the late 60s.
Macmillan Lane was Agriculture Commissioner, wasn't it? Somebody
that might
like
have been
that.
right. There's a statue out front. There's a plaque out front in the grass, and I forgot when it
He stayed a long time as Ag Commissioner when I was a little boy, and then he came back again. I think he
the
served.
one I remember is A.W. Todd. He did
a lot. Now, he
was
did.
the youngest and the oldest.
You're right.
He served three. Back then, you could only serve 4 years. Your term limit is one term.
Right.
He served a term as the youngest, laid out 8 years or something, ran, won again, and then laid out 8 years and ran, and was the oldest activist.
I remember when he ran. I had him right here, and I'd been a fan, and he'd been a fan of reading my column up there where he's from in Russellville.
Yeah.
For years, and he was as sharp that last term as you've ever seen.
I don't.
He had some physical maladies, but he was just as sharp as he'd be. Like thinking, I don't know if he's gonna be able to answer this question or not. Just like that. He was sharp as a tack the last time he ran. A.W. Todd.
Yeah, I think that civic or convention building up there
And
is named after him.
Should have been.
He probably got him the money for it.
Rick, I hate to say it, our time's up.
Well, I always enjoy it.
I enjoy it too. Folks, our guest tonight's been Rick Pate, our State Agriculture Commissioner, who's been Ag Commissioner for 8 years now, and he's running for Lieutenant Governor because he can't run for Ag Commissioner again. His term limited after 8 years, so he'll be on the ballot as Lieutenant Governor next time in a few months for Lieutenant Governor in May of 2026. Yeah. Thanks, Rick.
Thanks, Steve.
This has been Alabama Politics with Steve Flowers, a production of Troy University Television. Opinions expressed on this program are not necessarily those of Troy University, its administration, faculty, staff, or students.